Hello and welcome to Scrapbook.com. I'm Amy Sonnemann, and today I would like to share with you ways to use a 6x6 paper pad and ephemera to be able to create cards for any occasion. In another video, I showed you how easy it is to create an all-in-one boxed card kit to be able to create beautiful cards quickly. A lot of companies create a boxed set of cards to go with the whole entire line. So there are 6x6 paper pads, there's ephemera, there's stickers, there's 12x12 sheets of paper that you can use to add to your boxed set, or you can use a 6x6 paper pad to get the same effect. That's what I'm going to show you today. So a few of the key supplies that I use when I create cards from ephemera in a 6x6 paper pad, we have blank envelopes, just plain white envelopes. We have our card bases that are pre-scored. We have our 6x6 paper pad, a pack of ephemera. I like to use a stapler. You can use your office stapler, or this is a tiny attacher from Tim Holtz. I always use some form of adhesive, like just plain flat adhesive. Also foam dots, scissors, and a paper cutter to kind of get you started. And we may bring in a few things to embellish afterwards, but for right now, these are the supplies we're going to use to create some fun cards with some of the things that you may already have. If you're a scrapbooker or if you do traveler's notebooks, you may already have these in your stash, and you can easily add, a few little embellishments to make a beautiful card for any occasion. So that's what I'm going to teach you how to do today. When I start to create cards, I always try to have my toolkit ready so I have everything I need in one location so that it can be quick. You don't have to search for supplies. Everything you need is in one location. I like the Deflecto storage container. It allows me to keep my adhesives, my tiny attacher, my foam tape, extra foam, as well as blank cards. Some vellum, which I'll show you how to use as well, blank card fronts, scissors, wet adhesive if I need it, an ink pad if you decide you want to add a stamped sentiment. I always keep that in there as well, some thread, some washi, whatever I think I might use each time that I make cards. So that's kind of the key to making quick cards easy and less stressful. So let's get started, and I'll show you a few tips that help me to kind of make base cards for any occasion. Next, I'm going to take the 6x6 paper pad and I'm going to cut it down to create bases for my card. So I've pulled out some papers that I like, and I'm going to cut them down to create the perfect card front to fit on my base card. This is an A2 card. It's when folded, it's a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. When it's folded, it's 5.5 by 4.25. So to create the perfect, I mount everything. So everything I do is going to have a little bit of a border around the edge. So you're going to see a little bit of white space around all of the cards. That's kind of my thing. That's what I like to do. It creates a little bit more interest and it looks finished and professional. So I'm going to cut all of my pieces of paper down to fit inside of here. So I'm going to cut it just a little bit less. So this is 5.5. The card is 5.5. I'm going to cut one cut 5.25. This side is 4.25. So I'm going to cut it a little bit less, a quarter less. So I'm going to cut this side 4 inches. So 5.25 by 4. And that's going to get you the perfect card to fit on top of this with a 1/8 inch border all the way around. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Some papers have directionality, so you have to think ahead of time whether I want this to be a card that is vertical or horizontal. If I want it to be more of a vertical card, I'm going to cut my first cut 4 inches this way, and then 5.25 this way. So then my card direction will be like this. Cute card. You could leave it just like this, attach it to this card, and have a note card, and you don't have to do anything else. If you just want some cute, fun, random note cards to give as gifts, to use as a thank you note, if you attach this right now, it's still cute. It's very functional. You could give it as gifts, and you're ready to go. but we are not going to stop there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut a bunch of card fronts, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the next phase. So now I'm finished cutting all of the card fronts, and they might look random. You might think, okay, some of those are really plain. What are you going to do with that? Once I have all of these cut, I keep them stored in a container so that whenever I decide to pull out cards or make cards, everything is in one place. As you notice off to the side, I have all of these random pieces. And your first inclination is to throw them away, but I encourage you not to throw them away, including the tear strips. And a tear strip is this little piece at the top, and it has a hole in it to be able to hang it on a shelf in a retail location. We don't care that it has a hole on the side or in the middle. We just want to be able to use it in the future. We're going to cut off some ends, we might use it to stamp on, but don't throw them away because they make beautiful little bits and pieces to build layered cards. So keep those. There's some nice large chunks of paper as well. There's thin strips. So keep all of that. I also put those inside of the same box. So everything I've cut can fit inside of the box and is perfectly matched with all the other things that I want to use. So I'm going to set that aside. The other thing I want to show you is that every one of these cards fits perfectly. Well, that one I didn't cut very well. Look at that. Okay, so this one, I cut the 4-inch, but I cut this a little bit long. So I'm just going to cut that at 4 and 5 1/4. Those are your key. A2 size. If you want a card front to go perfectly on top of it, you're going to cut it 4 by 5 1/4. Fits beautifully on top. Okay, so all of the ones I cut fit perfectly. Depending on which one you want, what kind of card you decide you want to, the feel that you're going for. Some of you think, well, that's kind of plain. That's okay. We're going to do some fun things with it. You can use it vertically or horizontally. That's fine too. So what we're going to do for our first card is we're going to use something that might seem a little over the top. This is, the pattern on this is beautiful. There's beautiful gold accents, but sometimes you want a little more subdued card. You want the hint of that beautiful pattern paper, but you don't necessarily want it to be like bam in your face. So I took a piece of vellum and I cut it down to the same size as the card front. And look at how subdued and beautiful that card looks with the vellum over the top. So you can totally change the look of your card with just a sheet of vellum. The trick with vellum is to use your adhesive behind an embellishment that you're layering on top. So we're going to go ahead and try that. For me, there's nothing more fun than busting open a new pack of ephemera and seeing what's inside, because as you look at the package, you think, oh, well, that's cute, but what's underneath? And you turn it over and you can kind of sort of see what's on the back, but you go, oh, what does that say? I can't read that. We'll bust that baby open and let's play. So here are all of the bits and parts and pieces that come inside of this particular embellishment package. There are words, there are different tags, there are hearts, words with different butterflies, gold accents, all kinds of fun things for us to play with. So what we're going to do is take a few of these pieces and create a card that's quick, easy, and fun. So I have my white card base, I have my piece of patterned paper, I have my vellum, and I picked out a cute little ephemera piece from the stash. And I want to show you how to make a quick and easy card with just a few simple techniques. So I showed you how to create just a more subtle background. I'm going to show you a little tip. If you cut a 1/4 inch off the long and the short side, it'll give you a beautiful border as well. I'm going to quickly trim one side 1/4 inch and the other side 1/4 inch to create the illusion of this beautiful border. Look how pretty that is. So it gives you layers, but it doesn't give you the bulk. I kind of like how that looks. So what we're going to do is you could just add that by itself flat, but I'm adding foam squares or foam tape to the back to give it more dimension. So once we add the foam tape to the back, we're going to place it in the middle of our vellum. Okay, so with vellum, you don't want to add more adhesive around the outside edge because it's going to show. So now that we have our ephemera placed, we're going to add adhesive, but only behind where the ephemera piece is. So let's go ahead and do that. So it'll stay hidden behind that ephemera. No one will see it. It'll look like it's kind of floating there, which is kind of fun as well. We're going to add it to give a perfect 1/8 inch border all the way around. That's why we cut off 1/4 inch from this side and 1/4 inch from this side. Look how pretty that is. We're going to add it to our card base. The ephemera has our sentiment already on it, so we don't have to stamp anything. We literally have to glue it down and you're ready to go. A beautiful card with a wonderful sentiment, and you've got a great card ready to send. Remember when I told you to save all of your scraps from the cutting of the card fronts? Well, now I'm going to show you how to use those pieces to create fun, dimensional, exciting cards that are not the run-of-the-mill, normal, everyday card. What I'm going to show you how to do is take your strip and add it to the inside of a card. First, we're going to cut our card down. So right now, I'm going to do it on white. We're going to cut our card down on the top part 1/4 inch. Or you can guess at it. You can kind of give it a good go. The strip is 1/2 inch. So I kind of eyeball it. I tend not to measure. It drives my friends crazy, but you know, it works for me. So I have my strip. I save this too because if you do stamp, you could easily stamp a sentiment on this. So I put it in my stash for things for later. I'm going to take my extra piece and I'm going to add it to the inside of the card. We're just going to add a little bit of adhesive. We're going to go ahead and glue it down right at the very edge. We're going to take our scissors. We're going to cut the excess. So you have a nice, pretty border on your card. So now we've got to cut this piece. Right now we're looking at 3 3/4. So I want it to be, say, 3 1/2. We haven't cut anything off this edge, so 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. We want it to be a vertical card. So we want it to be 3 1/2 by 5 1/4. So it's going to go perfectly on top of just the very front of the card because we cut off that extra 1/4 inch here. Okay, so we're going to add that on with our adhesive. We're going to center it in the middle. I have my From Our Kitchen to Yours. We're going to add a few pieces of foam tape to the back. So we're going to remove our adhesive. Add it to the middle of your card. It's all popped up. So you have dimension, a little bit of interest on the inside of the card. When you open it up, you can write on it like it is. If you have stamps, you can also stamp on the inside. You can write your thank you, whatever. Quick card, very easy to make with just the few pieces of ephemera and a 6x6 paper pad. On this card, I used a little brad. But if you don't have brads, I have brads laying around everywhere, so I just used a brad. But if you don't have a brad, the Nouveau Vintage drops work just as well. And we're just going to fill up that little hole to make it look like it's hanging. We'll set that aside to dry, and you'll have a fun new card to add with maybe some baked goods or a thank you card for someone who gave you baked goods. The perfect quick and easy card. If you're not a stamper, but you still want to send cards with sentiments or greetings on them, inside of your 6x6 paper pad, you have cut-apart sheets like this. And a lot of them have fun sayings. I love you, congrats, sweet treat, thinking of you, thank you, hello, just for you, oh happy day, grateful heart. So there's a lot of things included in your 6x6 pad that you don't have to add anything else. You can just cut these apart and add them to your stash. So when I'm prepping to make cards, I cut these apart and add them to my ephemera stash. So I have all kinds of fun sayings and tags and so forth to be able to use. The nice thing about the 6x6 pad is in every collection, if there's a 6x6 pad, there's also 12x12 papers, and they have the same type of cut aparts. They're a little bit larger. There's probably more options than fit on a 6x6 pad, but they also say things like thinking of you, thank you. Some of them are exactly the same, just in a larger size. They also have the larger cut aparts with more sayings like this. Whenever I get a 6x6 pad, I also get the matching 12x12 page and cut those apart, and those are quick and easy cards as well. They also have beautiful pieces on the back. A lot of times I just buy it for the background and I cut those 4 by 5 1/4 and put them into my card stash so that I have card fronts ready to go to create with. So I love this. This is one of my very favorites. So I purchased 2 or 3 sheets of this. I have it already cut down to size and it's ready to go. So let's take a look and see what we can do with these fun paper pieces and bits and parts. After I cut the 12x12 sheet of paper down, I have all of these fun 3x4 cards. So when you use the 3x4 cards with the pre-cut card fronts, you can mix and match. Look how beautiful. I mean, simple, easy, quick. If you want to add a little bit more fun to it, you could take one of the other pieces in the 6x6 pad, cut it down to a mat, 1/4 inch larger. It gives you 1/8 of an inch all the way around. You can mount them one on top of the other. You can totally do it flat and make it pretty. Quick, easy card to send to a friend. We can adhere it flat and then add it to a card front. Believe in yourself. Write a quick note, pop it in an envelope, and you're ready to go. You can also take a 3x4 card. It's cute on both sides. We can adhere it to a little mat in an accenting color. And for added dimension, we can go ahead and use some foam tape to pop it up. And I just tear chunks off. You can use scissors. I just kind of do quick and easy. Use enough to make sure that the center is supported as well so that it doesn't crush in the mail. So now you have it mounted and we have the foam tape on the back. Center it in the middle. You can add it to a card and you're good to go. Remember when I told you to keep all of your extra pieces and parts after you cut your 6x6 pad down? Now I'm going to show you how to kind of use those out of your box to be able to create something quick and easy. I'm going to use this pretty floral paper. And what we're going to do, I already have my card base cut. I have my card. This is one that I did earlier with the card base, an extra piece. This has directionality, so I had to go this direction. The piece that I chose does not. I could go either direction. So I'm going to show you how to kind of mix it up and go the other way. And I cut a little piece of white to back my extra strip. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to mount that with our adhesive. We're going to center it in the middle. I'm going to take my scissors because it's going to be a little bit longer than what we need, because I literally just took it out of the box as a kind of a remnant. And you can either do it vertical, horizontal. You can change up the kind of card you're using it on. It makes it look very different when it's on something a little more gold or something pink. I kind of like the pink. Let's go with the pink. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to add this to our card front. This time we're going to go for a vertical card. You'll see we're still a little bit long. We're just going to quickly cut that off. And in the Jen Hadfield collection from American Crafts, they have these beautiful little wooden framed sentiments, which I really am enjoying. This one you have 4 wooden sentiments and 3 little floral pieces. But here you get 6. And it's kind of fun because you can use it for anything you want. You can do the exact same card 4 different ways. Let's try it. So sometimes I'm a little nervous to just go in and try it without testing it first. So it's on this clear acrylic or clear acetate piece of paper. So I'm cutting them apart. This way you have them all separate and you can test them. Well, that's really cute. So you could say thanks. Thinking of you is fun. Hello friend is cute. Just a plain hello. Happy day. I like that. Or love. So you can try it without actually adhering it to your card. I think we're going to have a happy day. So I'm going to take the happy day ephemera. It already has adhesive on the back. It's foam mounted. We're going to go ahead and we're going to center it right about there. And we're going to take a card base and we're going to adhere the card front to it. We've already built our card front. The card base just is kind of a last step. Center it on the card. Quick and easy card, and literally these were scraps. Now that I've shared lots of tips and techniques for creating cards with a 6x6 paper pad and ephemera, hopefully you can go home and try this yourself and create lots of cards for all of your card-giving occasions. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happiness is life handmade.